All right, welcome in to another episode of the Goodman and Hummel podcast. I'm Jeff Goodman. He is Robbie Hummel, and after this one, we got one more. That's it. You excited? You know that's part of the contract, right? You have to finish after the year is over. You still have one more.
Oh, this isn't the last podcast.
This is not the last one.
No, I'm just kidding. I would do unlimited podcasts with Field of 68. That's how good of an employee I am that I would even go into the summer and do it.
Well, because after next Monday, you're off the clock for ESPN and BTN. So this is the only place you'll stay relevant.
Yeah, because I care so much about that.
This is the golf course. That's it.
I think I might actually do some stuff NBA Combine wise, and maybe some other stuff too. So we'll see. You should. They should increase your role, but it's going to cut into your golf game, and I'm not sure you're ready for that quite yet. All right. Well, we got the Final Four. We're both heading down there this week. I believe the last time you were in New Orleans for Final Four, you and I kind of ran into each other, didn't you? Luckily you weren't a minor at that point. You were still 24 years old as a senior. I was 22, but keep going.
By the way, I really do have everybody convinced that you are the longest tenured college basketball player.
And the crazy thing is if you looked up how many games I played less than most four-year guys.
Mitch Lightfoot is much older than you.
Jalen Coleman-Lands is 25 years old. He's played 7 years.
People think you played longer than Jalen Coleman. It's awesome. I mean, I've really got everybody believing it.
It's thanks to idiots like you, pushing the narrative that's even out there.
Tremendous. New Orleans. What do you remember from your trip to New Orleans? Much?
Well, Ryan Smith and I roomed together because he was down there for the 3-point contest.
You didn't shoot it well enough to get in the 3-point. Your academics got you to the Final Four.
Not true. I got asked and turned it down, which I wish I hadn't looking back, but whatever. I was there for the Low Senior Class Award, which was really fun, but I just
what was your GPA, by the way? I want to know what your GPA was coming out of Purdue that you were able to be a part of the Lowe's clean.
It was like a 3.19. And you know what sucks about that is that academic All-American is 3.2. I literally missed it by like 1/100th of a percentage point. But I was taking real classes. Like you're talking about business calculus.
Here we go.
What grade would you get in business calculus at a Big Ten school? F?
All I know is, and again, my daughter heard me. Why did it come up? It came up the other day when she was with me in Chicago, and we went out for dinner with a couple other people from Stadium, and they were younger, and I was talking to them, and somehow it came up about Arizona and the lack of my class attendance schedule at Arizona was not exactly. So I was telling Talia, like, you got to go to class in Indiana. And
that's some BS. If you didn't go, she shouldn't go.
Oh, don't do that. Come on.
That's how I feel about it. If Dad didn't go, he set the precedent. She shouldn't go either.
But she's got to not make the mistakes I made. But you went to you had to go to every class at Purdue, didn't you?
Yeah, we got class checks. So we were there. I remember about New Orleans.
Yeah.
Honestly, being hungover. That's what I remember about the last time we were there. You know what the funniest thing was? There was a really good group of people down there for the Lowe's deal, for the 3-point contest and the dunk contest. So the funniest pairing of the roommates was John Scherna and Jay Crowder. And they hung out a lot. I remember Crowder being at the bar, just like, Scherna, what do you want to drink? And John is the nicest guy in the world. John just like, I'll take a hurricane, Jay. Like, and we were all together.
It's like the ultimate odd couple.
It is the ultimate odd couple. Jay Crowder and John Scherna. I'm almost positive they were rooming together because they'd put you with another player. But yeah, the funniest thing that I remember is I had this banquet, and I think we talked about this when Jim Nance was on this podcast. The banquet, and I had won the award. I knew I'd won the award, and an idiot like I am, we went out, and I was really hungover. The only reason I even woke up for my car to take me to this banquet was because I caught this cramp in my calf that was so severe from being so dehydrated. Like I was so dehydrated that I woke up and like I'm cramping. So I got to stand up. I look at the clock and it's like 9:29. I gotta leave at 9:30. So I jump in the shower. I just throw on whatever clothes. I get taken to this event. I'm at this table with all these Lowe's workers who I think it's a reward for, I don't know if it's sales or just, you know, they did a good job or whatever, but they get brought in and Jim Nance is emceeing this award. And I'll never forget. I'm like dying at the table. Like people are literally like, man, rough night on Bourbon
What time
Street.
did you get in? What time do you think you got in? 4?
Maybe later. I mean, 4 or 4:35. And these workers are like, are you okay? You know, you don't look great. I'm like, oh, I feel horrible. And they're nice. They're like, we've been there. Bourbon Street will get you. Those hurricanes are rough. And the funniest part is Jim Nance is announcing to the crowd that I won this award. And he's reading this bio and character is so important for this award. And I'm literally like, I might throw up on the table. Like I literally might vomit. And as he announces me, he's like, and our winner, Robbie Hummel. And I literally like just look up and I'm like, thank you. Like, I could hardly stand up. I'm dying, dude.
So you didn't have to talk. Thank
God. I could have literally thrown up on a podium. I was so hungover.
Imagine you get up there, shake Jim Nance's hand, and just vomit all over.
If I projectile vomited onto like the podium, or
man.
I mean, I was in rough shape. That's New Orleans is a great Final Four city because it's close and there's good food and there's fun bars.
Are you going to go out? Are you going to go out?
I don't know. I honestly don't know if I will have time to go out.
All right. You're doing the 3-on-3 because you are Harry 3-on-3 now, even though you couldn't make the damn Olympics, you're still Mr. 3-on-3. So you do this 3-on-3 event that's put on by Intersport. I stopped by last year. And
you coming by this year?
You know, I will. I'm just afraid Titus and I are gonna throw at each other if we have round two.
What's the beef over?
I don't know. He was just annoying as hell about the Brad Stevens, the Indiana stuff. And now, listen,
we got to bring you two together.
Now I'm an Indiana guy. So
then you have common ground.
I've completely flipped. So maybe we do. Maybe we can make up.
There you go.
So you're there. Literally, you are broadcasting as hard as you worked all year. And you like to say how hard you worked this year, but let's face it, it really wasn't that hard. This is a grind for you now. I mean, one game a day, Rob. I know the travel is tough and you might have, a car service pick you up and you can take a nap in the back on the drive, whatever.
How many times did that happen this year? A car service I was in maybe 2 times. And one of them was the worst ride I have ever had in my life, in the sense that the driver was A, conspiracist, and B, a terrible driver, terrible driver.
So anyway, you are on the air. I'm going to use this as a time for you to promo the 3-on-3 event put on by Intersport. What is it? What's it on, and when is it on?
Well, we'll have multiple days on ESPNU for 2-hour windows, and then the last day always has been it's a really cool event for college kids that aren't playing in the Final Four. They get a free trip down there. They get to play multiple 3-on-3 games or 10-minute games, and they rapid fire them off on Friday from, I want to say we're starting at 2 this year all the way to 9:30. So it's 2 to 9:30, and then the next day is an early ass morning. It's Saturday morning. I want to say starting at 8, or maybe 7 even.
Wow.
We're there early, and it's like 7 to 4, and then there's Sunday is the championship day. But every game I want to say is for $1,000. So you win your game, they give you $1,000. And which is cool. I think it makes it. It makes pool play games relevant and makes the kids play super hard.
And Titus gives the money out, right? Like after they win,
Titus and Tate give them this bag of money. They can do whatever. They throw it.
That's awesome.
The air. They celebrate. It's really fun, actually.
I had a blast when I was there.
And you get to see a lot of kids that have had really good seasons. For me,
Yeah.
that I don't see all year. You know,
Right.
you see some of these kids that lead the Colonial in scoring or the Patriot League or, you know, wherever. It's a very
There's some
different
good
game
names.
5-on-5. There are
RJ
some really
Cole.
good RJ
Right.
Cole's playing. Cam Auguste, I think, is playing, which boy, he can score.
Oh,
Let me pull up here. I got
some of the names.
yeah. Let me
We're breaking news here.
Brad Davison is playing.
Oh,
I
your
think
guy.
he is, you know,
Brad Davidson's one of those guys. I don't know if you agree with this. On the court, if you played against him, you hated him. Off the court, is there a nicer kid than Brad Davison?
He is great to talk to.
Right?
He's engaging. I agree with you. I agree with you. Ryan Hawkins, former D2 star.
Oh, love him.
At Creighton. He will kill.
Yep.
Darius Perry, Jariah Horn are playing for the American. Some of the Ivy League kids that have been really good for a long time are playing. My man John Hara is playing.
Oh yeah, from
from Penn State.
Cam
Auguste.
All right. Let's move on. Let's move on here, and we got to get you out though Thursday night. I mean, if it doesn't start till 2,
I don't know. I've got this. I'm doing this thing for Invesco QQQ with
what time?
I don't know. I think it's at 7.
Oh, come on, you'll be done.
I got a lot going on.
You can make an appearance. Don't big time. Don't big time us little people.
It's not a big time, little time thing. It's just I got to make sure I'm good to go for the next day. I'll probably be out Thursday night. You
don't want a repeat of the last time you were in New Orleans. I get it. I get it. You don't need to be throwing up on the set of the 3-on-3.
I also
for all the money you bring in, you can't screw up that gig.
I also remember Ryan and I going to Crystal Burger at like 5 a.m. and we got this burger and the meat was like a blue hue. It was the nasty. So we just ate the fries. It was terrible.
Did I tell you my story of the last time I was in New Orleans would have been about 5 years ago. NBA All-Star game was there. And I'm working at ESPN. I was doing NBA that year too. So I was early morning Sports Center every day. So
that's like 6 a.m.
It was brutal. And it was Central Time there. So I'm there and literally I got to get up at like 4:30 to get over there for, I think it was 5 a.m. Central Time, something like that. So I'm not going to say who the player was. Okay. But I'm walking out of my hotel at 4:30 in the morning to go over there. And a player is walking back into his hotel with 2 girls on either arm. And again, I'm not going to say who it was, but I knew the player well. And I texted him the next day and I'm like, I saw you walking.
Dude, that reminds me. Remember, you ever heard of Gerg's Camp? It's So he was an assistant in Milwaukee at the time, former UNLV coach. His first name is, what's his first name?
Tim Gergovich.
Yeah. And he had this camp in Vegas, and it was all players who had been in the NBA or had been drafted and were like second round picks and trying to make it, or rookies, or just young guys. Really high level deal. Everything's run by assistant coaches in the NBA. Every GM is there. It's a big camp to go to for young players. It's at this high school. I want to say Bishop Gorman in Vegas. And there was a player there who I won't say his name. He is crazy. I went to sleep. I remember we had a late dinner because we'd played. I walked through the casino. I saw him at the blackjack table playing at like 11. Now the next morning, it's early and it's 2-a-days. It's like 6 hours on the court total. A lot of playing. I got up at 5:45 to come down and get breakfast. He was legitimately still in the same seat playing. And I went up to him and I'm like, dude, have you moved all night? And he's like, no, man, I've been playing blackjack. And I'm like, aren't you going to be tired? You haven't gone to sleep? Like, these days are crazy long. Right. And he looks at me and goes, Rob, you can't win if you don't play.
Some guys.
It's like, wow.
Hey, some guys can get away with it. I was told Paul Pierce in Boston could get away with that and be fine you would never know the difference for games. Like some guys could do it.
It's like Michael Jordan, where they said he just didn't need to sleep.
Right.
There are some guys where they can go out, drink, do whatever, party, and come in and play 40 minutes. Now, the problem is you have guys that try to hang with those dudes that aren't, and they just, and even veterans. I know veteran guys that I played with that would try to hang with a couple of the guys on our team that could do that, and they would be just total shit. They would
luggage by the time the game came around. All right, let's talk about the games. Final Four in New Orleans. No better place to have the Final Four in New Orleans, because we've already discussed some of the issues and tribulations that come with whether it's playing, covering, whatever. A Final Four, the bars don't close is the biggest one. We got great matchups on one hand, right? I mean, you couldn't ask for anything better in a way, because you have kind of 4 blue bloods. I consider Villanova blue blood. Some people are going to argue with me now.
That's been a point of contention for you.
A debate, a big debate, whether it's a blue blood or not. I feel like Villanova's, again, are they in that Kentucky, Kansas, Carolina, Duke category? No, they're not. But over the last, 10 years, and they've had plenty of success prior to that. They still won a national title with Rowley and Ed Pinckney. And again, they're not at the same level. Like, to me, again, a blue blood, UCLA still a blue blood. Like, is Arizona a blue blood in your opinion, Rob?
No, I think that they're with Villanova.
Right. Indiana, are they a blue blood?
No. Well,
it's hard, right?
They haven't performed like one for 20 years.
Like Villanova has been way more of a blue blood in terms of performance than Indiana or even Arizona over the last 10 years or so. So I don't think there's much of an argument. Again, Duke, Carolina, Kansas, Kentucky are the 4 that I think are in a different category than everybody else.
Agreed.
Villanova, Jay Wright has put himself and put that program in the discussion, which is absolutely amazing. Now, they play Kansas, and they got him without Justin Moore. It's kind of the undercard now. I don't know if it would have been the undercard anyway, because you have Coach K and that storyline and Duke, Carolina. But it might have been the better game overall in a way if you had Justin Moore healthy. Can Villanova beat Kansas? I think they can play with them, Rob. But I think by the end of the game, like what Bill Self does best is better than any coach probably in college basketball is utilizes his bigs, right? He's always done that. He doesn't have like imposing bigs right now in terms of like McCormick's physically imposing, but not guys that you can count on every game.
He does not have Doak.
Right. No Doak right. He doesn't have Doak. He doesn't have even Darrell Arthur. Like he doesn't have those dudes.
Morris twins, Thomas Robinson.
Correct. Right. He's got McCormick and Lightfoot. My take is he's going to find a way to get Eric Dixon in foul trouble. And that is Villanova's one and only front court guy who's got some size and girth.
I mean, he did it to Sam Wardenberg. Wardenberg had one foul in the first half and had 4 fouls in like 3 minutes in the second. I mean, it was crazy.
And when he fouled out, the game it was still a game. They were right there.
Well, Miami, who looked unguardable in the first half because McGusty was just making everything.
Yes.
He was balling. Kansas up their level defensively, though. And they turned over Miami a couple of times and got out in transition. McCormick played really well in the second half. Mitch Lightfoot has given them good minutes. I agree with you. They're going to go inside to those two guys and try to get Dixon in foul trouble. I just feel awful for Justin Moore. That is
awful.
What a bizarre deal for them to win the game, which is a freaking war of a game. And he tears his Achilles with 30 seconds to go in the game. It would be such a bittersweet deal. And I've been in locker rooms like that where you have an injury and you're a game away from winning your league or, going to the post. And it's like guys are happy they won, but you know that the season just got screwed up because of this, and not that the season's screwed up when you go to the Final Four. That's a great season.
But you want a chance to win the whole thing.
They had aspirations to win the whole thing.
Right.
And they were playing really well. So
now, if there's a team, Rob, if there's a team and a
Totally.
culture and an avenue to be able to pull off an upset of sorts,
yep.
right? You've still got the way they play. They're going to grind you. They're going to slow it down. They're going to use the shot clock. They're going to move the basketball.
Well,
now,
they're also their mentality. They're not going to. Some teams would have this, and the next game would look like they just got shell shock, punched in the face, roll over. I don't think that will be them. I really don't. I think that they will control the game tempo wise, which is going to be huge because if you let Kansas get out and run like they did in the second half against Miami, they are going to run you out of the gym. They've got speed, they've got athleticism, they've got guys that can get out and go. But I think it'll still be a competitive game. I do not think that now. I think Kansas will win.
Yeah, me too.
But I
because
think
they'll wear him down. I think they'll wear him down by the end. And Villanova is going to play 5 dudes. Now, you tell me, Rob, how affected? Okay, so in the NCAA tournament, these timeouts feel like an eternity. Does it matter? Can you play 5 dudes 37 minutes if Dixon doesn't get in foul trouble?
I will say my last college game against Kansas, I want to say I played 37 minutes and I was freaking spent. But think about it. And this is going to be how these Nova guys are. I'm guarding Thomas Robinson for a lot of the game. I'm fronting him. You know,
that's the difference.
I'm exerting crazy energy on both ends of the floor, which I think these guys are going to have to do too. And by the end of the game, I missed a couple free throws in the first half that I'd shot in the 80s on the year.
Yeah.
I felt like I had physically emptied the tank. And I think that these guys will have to do that here tonight. It's hard.
And Dixon isn't used to. Dixon doesn't play 35 minutes. He plays 25 to 30.
Yeah.
And again, it's going to be predicated on him staying out of foul trouble, but Caleb Daniels is going to have to play 30 plus minutes now. And there's no margin for error now. That's where, like, Colin Gillespie can't have an off game.
No, he's got a hoop, and so does Jermaine Samuels.
Right.
It's just they've got to play like a perfect game. Which
I think Slater is the key. I think Slater. So I'm a huge Brandon Slater guy, and he was so good in November when I saw him at Mohegan Sun. Yep. So damn good offensively. Like I left there saying like he's an NBA player. He is an NBA player because he was making threes. He was assertive on the offensive end, and then he got hurt. Didn't practice a whole lot for like a month stretch. And has never regained that offensive kind of form that he had and the swagger. I think now, like, there's no choice. Like Brandon Slater, you have to be aggressive because we can't have you coming out of this game with 4 points. You got to score in double figures.
I mean, they all have to give something on offense.
They do. So you're going Kansas in that one. All right. So Duke, Carolina. Were you excited to get Duke, Carolina, or were you disappointed that it wasn't Duke and St. Peter's?
No, I was excited for Duke.
Okay.
Carolina.
You were done. You were done with St. Peter's.
What? I just think that this game, the storyline, a storyline of 15 getting to the Final Four is cool, but I was probably pissed they beat Purdue.
Well, that's where I was going next.
No,
I came down. I came down press row to not even like
to
I
rub
knew
it
you
in.
already knew.
To rub it in is what you did. Yeah, so you were rubbing it in.
I was not rubbing it in. I was going to see your reaction during a timeout of Purdue losing to St. Peter's. You wanted no part of me. None.
No, I didn't. I wanted no part of anybody. I didn't want to talk to anybody about Purdue's loss to St. Peter's, and I still don't. So thanks for bringing it up.
Listen, wait. We can't gloss over this because you are Mr. Purdue, other than Brian Cardinal. It's you and Brian Cardinal that you're Mr. Purdue.
Nice.
You know, the statue is still not quite cleared yet, but
they're trying to get Cristiano Ronaldo's statue maker from that Tonight Show.
We're working on it. We're seeing what we can do. Okay, so seriously though, because this is something that I got asked a lot after Purdue's loss was how is this going to affect Matt Painter and kind of the how people view him, how people view, because this was again his best chance since you played for him of getting to the Final Four. And he had Jaden Ivey. He's not going to have another guy like Jaden Ivey anytime soon. Let's be honest. He had a couple bigs that were like he had a team that we thought was capable of getting there, and they lose to St. Peter's. Now, the good thing is St. Peter's had already beaten Kentucky. So it wasn't like they beat Purdue and then got knocked out. And probably John Calipari was happy the further they went, because people kind of forgot about that a little bit. How bad do you think this affects Matt Painter personally and his kind of hit on him as a coach?
Well, I think it affects him personally a lot. I'm sure he's disappointed. I mean, he wants to get to the Final Four like every other coach that's coaching in college basketball. It's Purdue is a weird example this year of, at times they looked unguardable on offense, and then end of the season it was hard to score for them. And defensively, they had some shortcomings all year. They were defending, but they didn't lose the game against St. Peter's because they couldn't guard them. You know, it was because they couldn't score. So
Amazing.
I don't know.
I said it all year up. Point guard play to me.
Yeah.
Point guard play was my bigger concern. We were all talking about defense all year. And I'm telling you, all year, what did I say from the start of the season?
You've been championing point guard play the entire season. I will not deny that.
Yeah.
I think that that's part of the problem. And I didn't get to watch the game because I was sitting there with you watching Providence, Kansas. Which actually we started the game calling it from a cell phone because the internet had gone out.
So I was down the end and they were screwing around with all the cords and everything like that. And I'm like, what's going on here? I didn't realize it affected. Otherwise, I would have pulled out all the cords. If I had known this was I would have cut the damn cord.
Yeah, Cougar was calling the game from a phone like this. Couldn't hear himself doing it, but just talking right into the cell phone. And at the 16-minute mark, they passed me the phone. I'm like, what are the keys to the game? The game had already started. It was crazy. The internet finally came back at like the 12-minute mark. But back to Purdue, from a reputation standpoint, I don't think it affects Matt Painter at all. I really don't. People know he can coach. It's disappointing for sure.
What it could have done, it could have taken him to a different level, I think, right?
Yeah, I mean, it puts you in that discussion of guys that have been there. So I still believe he's going to get there. I really do. He's recruiting at a high level. He's too good of a coach.
Still young.
He's still he's in his low 50s. I want to say it's disappointing because I truly believed when I watched them in Connecticut that they were the best Purdue team that Paint had ever. I believe that. I was like, with their size, they're torching Nova from three.
But you guys fit together better. That was the one difference. When you were healthy, I felt like your Purdue teams fit together. You didn't have as many the weakness.
Right. And our chemistry, I feel like was tremendous.
You played together,
but we'd been together forever. I'd known Juwan Johnson since my sophomore year of high school, playing with the junior all-stars with him and then the Indiana all-stars. And even though we weren't on the same AAU team, we were very familiar. Each one and I have played together since my sophomore year of high school. Chris Kramer fit in really well. Keaton Grant, same thing. Lewis Jackson, Kelsey Barlow. Like we had a really good team, but I don't know. I really believed that we would struggle with the fact that they were huge and they were just obliterating Villanova and obliterating North Carolina. And it's like, man. And as the season wore on, I'm just like, defensively, they struggled. So that's certainly my opinion, I think, changed throughout the year, but I still thought they were capable of making the Final Four because they presented such problems for their teams. And watching the way that Carolina just destroyed those guys with their size. Baycott has 13 rebounds with like 5 to play.
It was
I thought that Purdue would do that to them too.
Yeah. They didn't take advantage of that nearly as much as they could have or should have.
Well, I think, and I didn't get to watch, but it sounds like Zach Edey started the game poorly, and then Travion Williams came in and played poorly. He was better in the second half, but from what it sounds like, they had open shots galore and just could not make them.
I think it came down again.
Turnovers have killed Purdue all year. They have, their numbers might not say it. I bet on KenPom they're like average, but they have had spurts where they give the ball up like it's on fire. It's just like they can't hold on to the basketball, and that killed them again.
Ivy had a lot of turnovers, including that one driving
He
baseline.
combined for 11.
Right.
He had 11 turnovers.
I mean, you got to take care of the ball. In the NCAA tournament, you can't be giving away points and giving away possession. So, all right. By the way, I'm wearing this
Mama Hog
in ode to Mama Hog. I got it in a little late.
Dude, I love the way she was talking bad to you. I thought it was great.
Killing me.
What she call you a dumbass?
I think every name in the book, and she's probably right about it. Right.
I thoroughly enjoyed that video. That was.
I know you did because you and Mama Hog have a lot in common.
Yeah.
Your hatred of me, your ability to make fun of me, and
listen. Anytime I make fun of you, it is deserved because you empty the clip on that as well. It's a symbiotic relationship there.
I do. I think people know my respect for you though. So that's why I'm able to do it. And you take it well. Duke, Carolina. So we know what happened the last time. I was there. It was ugly. It was embarrassing. It was all that. I think it's going to be completely different. I've said this since this matchup. Again, I just can't get it out of my head, Rob. After the game, looking at the entire team, I was literally directly.
You thought the season was over, right?
Yeah. Like Kay came back out. Remember, he had to bring all the players back out. They sat on the bench while he grabbed the microphone and said, how embarrassed he was. Apologized for their performance, had just skewered them in the locker.
Isn't that pretty disrespectful to Carolina?
Because he didn't say anything about Carolina there. And then I think he realized it afterwards. And in the media session
they played better the last 10 games of the season. Like they really came on, and now you see that it wasn't a fluke. They're good.
Well, they're playing like we thought they were going to play all year, Rob, Carolina. Right. And the crazy part, it kind of coincided a little bit. It came a little bit later, but the departure of Dawson Garcia to tend to his family, to go home, the statement said attend to his family. They started playing better, maybe because, again, Brady Manick knew what his role was going to be. I think, again, they fit together. It's hard to play like the rotation of like Backcourt, Manick, and Garcia. Now you know what you have, right? Baycott's a traditional low post dude who's not going to stray from that. Manick is a pick and pop big. Those two fit well together. And RJ Davis has been awesome. To me,
Caleb Love has too. Both of
those
guys.
He's still up and down. That's the big X factor for me. He didn't shoot it great in Durham when they won, but he was aggressive. He was assertive. He was taking the ball to the basket, and RJ was dominant. And Backcourt was really good against Mark Williams there, if you remember. Mm-hmm. Really good.
I thought when I saw Carolina in Fort Worth for the first weekend that the decision-making of Caleb Love was as good as I had seen from watching his really last 7 or 8 games, where you're like, man, this guy, sometimes he takes some just horrific shots. But I thought he was so under control against Baylor. He made 5 or 6 threes in the first half. But yeah, I think that their group is scary to play. They're not deep, but boy, they really put you in some binds. Now with Duke, I will say, I agree with you. It's going to be a totally different deal than what we saw start of March. I'm looking at their roster and I'm like, all right, Paul Banchero, top 3 pick in the draft.
Yep.
Mark Williams now being talked about as a lottery pick. Roach playing at a high level.
Yep.
Keels defending, Wendell Moore. I'm like, all of us, AJ Griffin, lottery pick.
Yep.
So I'm looking at their talent and I'm like, boy, they are extremely talented, and they're guarding better. I think the 2-3 has been good for them. They're guarding pick and roll better, and they've got dudes that can score. They are extremely talented. I think that this is a culmination of a long season where it's like, man, they got a lot of talent, but will they realize it? I would say the answer is yes, they are.
You know what? To me, you look at the rosters and you're like, okay, you go down the list And it's like, all right, like you said, Mark Williams to Backcourt. Mark Williams is going to be an NBA player. Backcourt will probably make the league. I think he'll play in the league. But again, like, all right, clearly Mark Williams is the better NBA prospect. Paolo to Manic. I think Manic can make the league. I mean, he's 6'10".
You know what? I was thinking the same thing. I was like, the way he shoots, he's a pretty good athlete. I think Brady Manic will play in the NBA. I totally do. So
again, similar situation. Mark Williams and Banchero to Backcourt and Manic. AJ Griffin to Leaky Black.
Hold on, though. The ceiling, though, compared to Banchero is not the same.
No. What I'm saying is they're similar. Yeah, they're similar in terms of like Backcourt and Manic are like fringe NBA players. Mark Williams and Banchero are going to be Banchero. Yes, it's high ceiling. Could be Chris Webber or something.
I think Mark Williams has a pretty high ceiling as well, just because he fits what the NBA wants in bigs.
Right? Really. Why can't he be
like a DeAndre Jordan or
totally? I mean, like what's the name? The Clint Capella.
Yeah.
Something like that. Like he could easily be that, right? I mean, super athletic. He's not your traditional big, like an Okafor, a below the rim.
No, and Okafor could score with his back to the basket, but it didn't matter because he was so below the rim and didn't protect.
Exactly. AJ Griffin, a Leaky Black. I mean, come on. Like,
you know what though? I love Leaky Black
because he does all the little things.
He guards his ass off. He's a good passer.
Yep.
Agreed.
Yep.
AJ Griffin's going to play in the NBA for a long time and get drafted probably in the lottery.
Now, here's my question to you. Here's my big question. All right. So if you go, clearly the front court is an advantage talent-wise for Duke. If you go backcourt and you go Caleb Love, RJ Davis compared to, I mean, really, there's not a third guy. They don't really play a third guy. I mean, Puff Johnson a little bit, but
he barely plays. Yeah.
They don't really have a third. So it's RJ and Caleb Love to their perimeter of Wendell Moore, Keels, and Roach. Like pretty close. No?
Yeah, I feel like it's now Jeremy Roach has played really well. Was it which game was it Arkansas game where he was Texas Tech.
He was great.
He was so good into the game.
So good.
Yeah, but like when you're talking about NBA talent, it's probably the
Keels, it's funny. Some people went over.
People were, but the way he played in the Champions Classic, it was like this dude's going to average 30 points a game.
I'm like, what are we doing? Like I think somebody had him like top 8 or something like that. I'm like,
for a freshman to play like that in his first game, that's pretty.
Yeah, but you can't get carried away.
But people did lose their minds.
That's the problem. People get so carried away on one game, and it's like, no, like.
But that's kind of the era that this is, like, of the nightly shows and whatnot. What else are you going to talk about?
I know.
I mean, you shouldn't crown him to the league, but that's where it's.
Like I put him in I think I put him in the late 20s after that stretch in November. I did a mock draft, maybe even in mid-December, late December, and I think I had him like 25 or something like that. And I'm not even sure he's a first round. Like, we'll see. I think maybe he'll get taken in the first round. I'm not so sure. I watch him and I'm like, doesn't shoot it great. Is he a point? Is he a 2? I like him. I think he should come back for another year. I don't know if he will, but I think he should. All right. So are you all in on Duke winning this and winning this big? Do you think it's going to be close? And do you think Carolina has a shot?
Oh, I think Carolina definitely has a shot. I think they do. I get the feeling that Duke is one of those teams of almost destiny at this point. Like they're playing really well. They're getting contributions from everybody. So I'm going to say Duke wins in a close one. But I like Carolina, and it would not surprise me if Carolina wins this either.
Wow. See, it would shock me if Carolina wins. It would absolutely shock me. Again, I just think Duke's salivating to get another shot at him.
But you can be overhyped too.
Yeah. No, you're right. I don't know if that's the type of.
I'm not saying they are. I'm just saying if that's your logic that they are salivating, you could be overhyped to play them. And I think Carolina is playing with a lot of confidence, and
they are.
I mean, they beat Baylor.
But when they came into Durham, they came in with nothing to lose. Nobody giving them a shot in hell. No, I don't think
know.
it's the same.
They destroyed Marquette. They beat Baylor in a game that they should have killed them, and the ejection turned the whole deal. They went in overtime, which honestly was impressive because they had zero momentum going into the overtime. And then they beat UCLA. Like they.
Well, what I'm saying is,
like I
they're
just
not
think
like
they're battle tested, and I think they're playing really well. So I'm going Duke, but I think Carolina's going to be right there at the end to win the game.
Yeah, I guess what I'm saying is it's a completely different matchup because now people actually are giving them a chance. There is some pressure on them now, where the last time when they played them, there was no pressure. They were playing with house money. Nobody gave them a chance in hell. I thought they'd lose by 20. Now you're saying, hey, you know what? They got a chance here.
I just think they're playing better, and that the Duke thing was not a fluke in the sense that they were playing good basketball.
Right. You have Duke winning the whole thing now?
No, I got Kansas winning the whole thing.
So I did too a week ago, and then I thought about the matchups, Rob, and I'm just like, I don't like the Kansas matchup against them. Small guards. Like those small guards. Now when Remy's on, like. It can look ugly, but that dude just makes contested shots like nobody else.
Yeah, the Miami game was the first game where he hasn't just been phenomenal in the post.
He made enough though. He made a couple.
He was good. It wasn't bad.
Yeah.
He just he gets to that pull up from the top of the key whenever he wants it. And he shoots it like a dart. There's no arc on it.
Nothing. It's a line drive.
No, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if Duke won either, but I like Kansas team. I do. And I think Bill is such a good coach.
I do too. We were talking about this last night, and I don't know if you agree. If you could pick one coach, we were asked this question, one coach to coach the same roster out of these four coaches, I would choose Bill Self.
Yeah. After timeouts, he's amazing. He gets the freaking lob out of the corner for Abaji every freaking game.
The Providence play. I mean, that was huge.
I know. I asked him in our interviews when we had Ochai the next day. I was like, dude, how do you get this every game? I know it's on the scouting report. He just laughed. He said, we got one of the walk-ons today. So one of the walk-ons was asking him, how do you get that lob all the time? He said he was guarding me in practice today, and I got it on him.
People know it's coming.
You just get so locked into the ball. He's a good cutter. And first of all, it's a lot easier when you've got an athlete like that, where you can throw it above the square.
Yep.
When I was at Valpo High School throwing lobs, if you didn't put it in the perfect place, no one was dunking the ball, right? Like you had to put that thing right there. Abaji, put it in the vicinity, he'll hammer it. So
he's way more athletic than I think people realize.
He is a elite athlete.
I think, Rob, am I crazy to say, okay, so Corey Kispert went late in the lottery, I think last year, like 14, somewhere right at the end of the lottery. He may not be quite the dead-eye shooter.
He's shooting 39 in the year, but he's struggled in the postseason.
Right.
Miami was the first game where he has shot it well, 8 of 12.
Can he be a better? I mean, to me, if Kispert goes 14, isn't Abaji's
much better equipped? Yeah, he's much better equipped to
he can guard,
defend, and I think you can make him into a 3-and-D guy. Why can he not be Trevor Ariza?
100%. 100%.
And Trevor Ariza is still playing.
Yep.
He is. I think he is a really good value pick for the NBA draft because he's mature. He's a great kid. He's a really good teammate.
Yep.
And I just think that he can make threes from the corner, and I think he can guard at a high level.
Yeah, he's going to go 10 to 20. He's going to go 10 to 20 in this draft. I'd be shocked.
How old is he? 20, 22?
Yeah. Yeah.
Fourth year senior.
But again, that's the dumbest shit ever.
No, it is. You can produce. He is going to be productive for an NBA team from the
second. Who the hell went? Who was it last year? Who ended up going? That
kid from Oregon.
Yeah.
Duarte
playing, right away.
Playing great for the Pacers.
Right. To me, those are the guys. Desmond Bain.
Yeah.
I'm
surprised about him because I knew he could shoot, but his arms are so short.
Yeah.
He's got a really, really short wingspan, but he is
super high character. Super high
kid. Well, Indiana kid,
Yep. That's right. All right. I know you got to prepare for these games, so I'm going to let you go. You got 3-on-3 plus you got everything to prepare for here, right?
I mean, mostly just who's playing in the 3-on-3, but
Are you going to get out there at all?
No.
Nothing. You will not get on the court.
Why would I? I'm not playing.
I don't know.
It's about
show
the
them.
kids.
Show them what it's like.
The guys that I play with come in on that Thursday, and they teach the kids the rules. It's like a 1 day, and it's a long day for those dudes.
Canyon coming in?
I don't think Canyon's playing in the G League still, so Canyon won't be there. But like Craig Moore and Damon Huffman, Zaire Carrington, maybe Kareem Maddox, those four.
And you'll teach him the rules too?
I'll be at Radio Row doing stuff for.
You're big time. You're big time. You're gonna big time.
It's for the same company. It's for three years.
You get the minor leaguers to teach him the rules while you go on Radio Row and start promoting your brand. Do you have like an RE chat yet?
No, I don't. When's
that coming out? When's your NIL line coming out?
It will never come out. I will never have an NIL line. I missed the boat. I was born 8 years too early. I could have had NIL.
Eight. You mean
10 years too 18. Early? 12 years too early.
What do you mean 18?
Although shit, I got to college in 07. That's 15 years ago.
That's what I'm saying. It was almost 18 years ago.
But I only needed 15 years. That's
not that far off. All right. Get to work, and I will see you down in New Orleans. You better get your ass out on Thursday night. That's all I got to say. If there's not an appearance.
Where are you guys going to be? Have you decided yet, or is it TBD?
We'll be running around. We'll be gallivanting.
Why did I? Oh wait, your nephew was a manager from Michigan, right? That's why you were at that bar.
Yeah, we were drinking. We were drinking in New Orleans. We couldn't keep up with you, but
I mean, I was in rare form.
You were getting after it.
I'm pretty sure that I was having a good time every night.
I heard the stories.
It's a good thing that I was not in the 3-point contest because I would have been trash.
Yeah.
I think Ryan was pretty hungover at 3-point contest himself. It's probably why I didn't win.
Well, I'll see you. I'll see you nonetheless. You let me know when to show up at the 3-on-3, and I'll definitely stop by so I can have some fun. Instead of ripping on Titus, I'll rip on you.
All right. That's fair.
All right. We'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us. Goodman and Hummel podcast. Enjoy the Final Four, and we will talk about who cuts down the nets next week.